All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. We're back for another week of Just a Fan Podcast. Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. We're back. I'm the one who is the Wildcat quarterback, the NFL Encyclopedia, Brandon Williams. That's right. Around this time last year, maybe a little bit earlier, we picked up this free agent. He is a defensive hunter, the Mike linebacker. He talks so much trash like John Randall. He's a future Hall of Famer. Pando 316 right.
You killing me. You killing me. Yeah. Yeah.
So let's jump right into it. Okay. We're gonna first. I know we usually start off with like games and stuff, but we're gonna kind of switch it up a little bit. We're gonna go jump right into our. That's right, our bruh moment, man. Hey, Eric, talk to me, man. Zach Wilson, New York Jets starting quarterback, former first round pick, talking about he doesn't think he let the defense down, but he completed way less than 50% of passes and threw for less than 100 yards. Is that what a franchise quarterback, well, supposed franchise quarterback, supposed to do? Not hold himself accountable after a performance like that?
This boy, and I'm gonna call him a boy because he hasn't behaved. He's not behaving like a man right now. Because a man takes accountability for his actions.
Exactly.
And he was 9 of 22 for 77 yards. He was under 100 yards passing against the Pats this past week. Now, here's the issue. What really made it bad, and it'd be understandable if the whole team was stinking up the place. Like if the defense allowed 300 passing yards and 200 team rushing yards, and then Zach Wilson threw 9 for 22, that's a team loss.
Exactly.
That is a team loss. The Jets defense, led by Robert Saleh, the Jets defense held New England Patriots offense to 3 points in 60 minutes of football. You can't ask for no more than that as a quarterback. You can't ask for no more than that. They went out there and the defense went out there and did their job. And so like, well, the final score was 10-3. Here's the thing, man. That was a special teams touchdown. The defense didn't have that to do with that. The defense stopped New England's offense and held them to 3 points for 6 football. Zach Wilson in the post-game presser goes, when asked, do you feel like you let the defense down? He's like, no. It was a quick no. It wasn't, oh, well, we got stuff, this and that and da-da-da-da this, but, he didn't do that. It was a quick no. He hurried up and said no. And in this game, you are the quarterback. Okay. And I do a terrible Al Pacino. But if you think about Al Pacino, and on any given Sunday, You're not some flash in the pan, corner, receiver, or even Julian. You're the quarterback. That's the top spot, kid.
Yes.
That's what the guys break their legs and their arms and their neck for you because you make them believe. I'm a teammate of Zach Wilson right now. I'm like, that's how I'm looking at it. I'm looking at him sideways because you bring it down the whole, energy of the team because the, it was like an unspoken statement that he made by doing that. Because the great ones, not just guys who go out there and put up stats, but the great leaders of men, they take accountability even when it ain't their fault.
Oh, trust me. Hey, look.
Even when it's not their fault, like, you know what? I got to play better. I got to do this. I got to do that. Man, you went out there and threw for 300 some yards, but, you threw an interception at the end of the game. I got to do better. I got to do this. That's what the great ones do.
Let me give you a prime example of that. And you know me, I'm a Cowboys fan. But this is what I know. Dak Prescott's rookie year, he and Zeke's first game, they asked Dak a question about Zeke missing the pass blocking assignment. Dak blamed himself for Zeke missing the pass blocking assignment when it was
Even though it
clearly
was
on
Zeke's
tape
fault.
that Zeke missed it.
Yeah,
But
even
Dak,
though it was Zeke's fault.
even though it was Zeke's fault, Dak held himself responsible for that.
That's a leader. Because sometimes, like I said, you have to take the blame even when it's not your fault, when you're the leader. Guys respect it. Like, nah, man, that wasn't you, dog. That was on us, man. Like, yeah, but I'm the leader of the team. That's something I should have told you or should have said to you you wouldn't have missed that block. That's something I should have said that maybe you would have ran that route a little bit better. I got to take accountability of that. Because guess what? Who gets all of the hype when the team wins?
The quarterback.
The quarterback. I don't care if the Jets would have won that game 6-0, two field goals, and the defense shut them out. They'd have been still talking about, well, Zach Wilson played great. And da, 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 da. You know how I know? I'm a 49ers fan. Jimmy Garoppolo gets a lot of credit that he did not deserve, especially the year that they went to the Super Bowl. Like when that divisional round game when they played the Minnesota Vikings, and I think Garoppolo threw 7 passes, and Raheem Mostert ran like buck wild on the Minnesota Vikings. They were like, well, Jimmy Garoppolo took no, you ain't take nothing. You didn't do nothing. So because of that, and that's just society we live in, we have to deal with that. If the quarterback is going to get all the praise when the team wins, even though he didn't really do a whole lot, guess what?
He has to take the blame. That's right.
Exactly. It's the top spot. And that's a maturity thing that I'm seeing that's lacking in Zach Wilson. And Robert Saleh, he hurry up and nipped that in the bud. He's like, well, we're not committed to who's going to start next week.
Mm-hmm. Which means it could be Zach Wilson, it could be Joe Flacco, it could be Mike White, it could be in those 3 quarterbacks.
Translation: don't play with me, boy. This is my first head coaching gig, but this ain't my first coaching gig.
There you go.
Don't play with me. That's what Robert Saleh made. He made an unspoken statement when he said what he said. Don't play with me.
And look, I'm gonna say this too: if Zach Wilson don't, and like I said, he needs to clean up now. If he doesn't clean up, he will be off the Jets roster fast. They go find themselves another young quarterback eventually, but after that statement, I don't see him as a long-term starter unless he cleans that up.
He's gonna have to clean it up. He's on the verge of being considered a bust.
Yeah, he's
on the verge of being considered a bust. That's the reality of it.
Yeah.
And he's gonna have to, and here's the sad thing. The Jets are more competitive now than they've been in years.
Yes.
Because of the defense. I think if Breece Hall doesn't go down, they win a couple more games than what they won. I just it'd be a shame to waste this team. Now nobody expected anything from the Jets this year, so they playing with house money. They ahead of schedule.
They really are. They really, really are. But
They are ahead of schedule for as far as the development of the progression of that team.
yes,
But at the same time, uh, Zach Wilson can't be the reason why they lose games.
right. And
So,
that means he may not start this coming Sunday and may not start for the rest of the season.
and
Depending.
again, I want to be clear on something. It's not his play that I have a problem with, because sometimes you're gonna have a stinker. It's the fact that you stunk up the joint and was like, and
Mental
you feel like you
toughness.
let your team down? No, you don't feel like you let your defense down, because they went out there and got the ball back for you several times in that game. You couldn't do nothing with it. You threw wounded ducks. You threw dirt balls. You stunk it up, but the defense went out there, got the ball back for you. You don't feel like you let them down. They held up their end. Because I'm telling you right now, if I'm a fan of a team and my defense is damn near pitching the shutout the whole game, I'm not mad at my defense. I'm mad at the offense that can't move the freaking ball, and my defense is getting the ball back time at the time at the time at the time at the time. That's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And if I know Robert Sala is a team chemistry type of guy. He's a player's coach.
Right.
So, like I said, he gonna nip that in the bud, because it's like he's already started to nip that in the bud. But it's like he wants the energy to be high. You know, the Jets are a better team than we thought they were gonna be.
And I'm
Uh,
sure he's going to talk to the leaders on that team and see how they feel about it.
right, because obviously there needs to be some other leadership other than Zach Wilson,
Right.
because he's proven he's not a leader. By
Exactly.
that statement, that was very immature, sophomoric, and what he should have said instead of this bra moment that he gave us. What he should have said was, man, yeah, I really feel like I let my guys down. They went out there and they grind and they held this team to this many points. The defense is playing fabulous. I got to step my game up to complement what they're doing. That's what you say. You don't say no. You don't say that. But the Jets are ahead of schedule. They
Yes.
look good.
Yes.
I don't know if they're gonna make the playoffs or not, because that's a very strong division.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
But at the end of the day, if they don't make the playoffs, I feel like the conversation about the Jets is going to be, especially if they can finish out the year with Joe Flacco and still be really good, because that offense is designed to be for a game manager. You don't have to be super duper.
Exactly.
Just manage the game. So
Because
I feel like at the end of the season, we're going to be talking about them as one of the best teams that didn't make the playoffs.
yeah, because their OC is Mike LaFleur, who's the brother of Matt LaFleur, and they both come from that Shanahan McVay tree on offense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and see, again, they were on that staff in San Francisco.
Right.
That whole, because I just love Mike McDaniel. And I hate that he's in Miami right now, because that goes into another thing. Let's talk about that, because there's an old adage. We're gonna segue into this next segment, because some of you who watch us online, go on YouTube and you see the title of tonight's show. One of the things we talk about is the NFC Smokescreen. There's an old adage in football. There's an old adage in football where they say you are what your record says you are. This particular year, when we're talking about the NFC, that's not true.
Exactly.
You are not what your record says you are, because there's a smoke screen going on right now. I'm going to give you an example. According to ESPN, I just looked at the ESPN Power Rankings. I only looked at the top 10 teams. Now, the AFC teams, and I'm going to start from the bottom of the top 10 all the way up. You have the Titans, you have the Ravens, you have the Dolphins, you have the Bills, and you have the Chiefs. That's 5 AFC teams. That's the top 5 AFC teams.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with the AFC, because right now where those teams are, their record really dictates where they are.
Yeah, it reflects where they are. Yeah.
It reflects who really. That's a good representation of who they are.
Mhm.
And again, if you're watching right now and you want to comment on it, we can talk about it because we really want some feedback on this. But this is through careful thought and deliberation that I'm talking about this. Now let's talk about the NFC teams because that's what I have issue with because there's a huge smokescreen surrounding these teams. And the media is just loving on these teams. And oh, they the threat to win the whole NFC. Oh, they Super Bowl contenders. Oh, they so great this, they so great that. And I'm here to tell you, because the first thing people do when people like to argue about football is they look at box scores. That's
Yes, it
it.
is.
That's it. Well, they beat such and such by this much. Well, they won this game over here. Oh, they won by the points this and that. Well, they lost to this team. I don't believe in that. The box scores are not a true telling of the story. That's
Hey,
literally the cover
but you know
of
what else
of
they do? You know what else they do? They listen to everybody else on TV. They listen to all those so-called experts on TV instead of
and
for real.
a lot of these experts are so biased. There's
Yes,
very few, especially a lot of these former players. A lot of these former players are biased toward the team they used to play for, or the team that they won a championship with, or the team they spent the most years with. And I'm not gonna call no names, but there's some. Oh my God, some of y'all know some of these players. Now there are a few analysts. There are a few who just call it like they see it.
exactly.
If they team ain't that good, he said, well, they've got some issues here, and if they can fix this, then they're gonna be good. That's fair. But you got some former players because most of these talking heads on TV now, very few of them are not former players. Very few. Most of them are former players. Oh, they're gonna be, and can't nobody be with best team in the NFC. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, shut up. Okay. So I'm gonna start from the bottom up and talk about how a lot of these teams, a lot of these analysts and the media is loving on these teams and why it is a smokescreen. They're maybe not as good as what their record would indicate. Now, at number 10, this is according to ESPN's power rankings. This is the top 10. I'm taking the AFC teams out. I'm just looking at the NFC. At the bottom at number 10, you had the New York Giants. Okay.
Mm.
The New York Giants just got, curb stomped by
Detroit
the
Lions.
Lions, who me and you and Steve and Tristan, all four of us agree the Lions are a better team than their record, which I'm going to get to that after. I could do talking about the top teams. I'm going to talk about some of these teams that are better than what their record indicates.
Exactly.
Okay.
Smoke
You
screen.
know, yeah. So that's the whole premise behind it. There are 16 teams in the NFC, and very few of them are literally what their record says they are. Like, for example, the Rams suck. We know that. And I've been saying that nobody, agree with me, but I ain't getting into that. So New York Giants, okay. Nobody predicted the Giants to be where they are right now.
No, not at all.
Nobody's talking about the New York Giants. So I'm gonna leave that alone. Let's move on. At number 8, you had the San Francisco 49ers. And I'm kind of glad it started right there. So people can't say I'm biased. 49ers are my team, but I'm finna talk about why it's a smokescreen as of right now. Now, before I go any further, let me say this. It's a smokescreen as of right now. If they can overcome these fallacies and flaws, all these things I'm about to talk about, then yeah, maybe they can be what their record says they are. But right now, you got some pundits on TV that's like, oh, they the most dangerous team in the NFC. Don't nobody want to see the 49ers. They got these weapons. They got this. They got that. Everybody who's pro 49er right now is like talking about all this other stuff. But here's where the smokescreen lies. Okay, here's 2 things that make me question the San Francisco 49ers. One, Jimmy Garoppolo is still the quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers. That's a problem. Now, some people might defend that and say, well, he played really good for the last 3 games, which is he's ahead of schedule. He's past schedule. All right. He's due for a stinker. It hasn't happened yet, but when it does, oh boy. You know how when you got an infant and he hasn't had a bowel movement in a very long time. And he's just, you're like, why is he this? He hadn't pooped in his diaper in a long time. What's going on? And then when he finally has one. Hey, my son is 10 now, but when he was a baby, he finally had that movement that hadn't come in a couple of days. He stunk up the whole house. We had to open windows. Like that diaper had to go immediately to the garbage can on the curb. We can't put it in a little diaper genie. Damn that. Okay. That's Jimmy Garoppolo. When he has a stinker, it's going to be egregiously bad. He's playing above his head right now. Part of the reason is because he's on a contract year. He's playing for his next gig, wherever it is. He's trying to get that bag. However, he's due for a stinker. Okay. I was wrong this week. We're going to talk about that game later. Threw for 4 touchdowns. I was wrong last week, but it's coming. Just wait. The second thing about the Niners is the problem is you have Kyle Shanahan as a head coach and a play caller. And some people are like, oh, Kyle Shanahan's a genius, da-da-da-da-da-da. But at the same time, y'all heard, those of you who follow this podcast know what I'm about to say. He is the dumbest smart kid that you've ever had in your classroom. He has the ability to be the valedictorian and get a full academic scholarship to MIT or Harvard. He has the ability to do that, but won't take the test, the admissions test, or just flakes out on it. That's Kyle Shanahan. The third thing, which is kind of it's not that big because it happens to everybody, is injuries. 49ers are getting healthy at just the right time. Fun fact, the 49ers have not fielded their starting 22 this entire season. There's always been 2 or 3 guys missing out of the starting lineup the entire season. But injuries is the third thing. It's not as big because everybody has them, so I'm not going to harp on that. But this is why. Kyle Shanahan's play calling in crucial moments of games and Jimmy Garoppolo being the quarterback. So that's why, like, oh, the 49ers, yeah, they look good right now, but wait for it. Also, the 49ers do not have a quality win under their belt this season. I don't know if Kyle is bad because the quarterback is. Listen to me, Jameson Owens, okay? What you do is want to debate with me talking about the 49ers. Kyle Shanahan in crucial moments as a coach, as a play caller, craps the bed. You don't believe me? Look at the Super Bowl in 2016 that they had won. I don't think I need to say anything else. Look at the Super Bowl in 2019 that they had won. 10-point lead, 6 minutes left in the game against Kansas City. All you got to do is run the ball, averaging 5 yards a carry. Kyle Shanahan drops the ball in crucial play calling in crucial moments of big games. Period. The NFC Championship last year, you done rolled Deebo Samuel's back all the way to this point. You know how many touches Deebo Samuel got in the fourth quarter of that game? 1. I don't think I need to say anything else about Kyle Shanahan. I don't think I need to say anything else. I don't. Okay, so moving on. The Vikings. Kirk Cousins.
I think they're bigger fraud than your team.
I agree.
I really do. I think
I agree.
Kirk Cousins is definitely overachieving. Kevin O'Connell has come in and made things easy for Kirk Cousins. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do for quarterbacks because he's using Justin Jefferson as they would for Cooper Kupp with the Rams.
There's nothing wrong with that. But let me say this. They didn't run the ball. That's why Dallas decimated them. They did not run the ball. And Dalvin Cook, if you want to look up the stats, you're the human encyclopedia. You want to look up the stats. How many yards was Dalvin Cook averaging in that game?
I think about 6 or 7 yards a carry.
Thank you. Also, the last 2 or 3 weeks, how many yards did the Cowboys defense average giving up on the ground in the last against, even though they beat the Bears, they gave up 244 yards on the ground against the Bears.
Yes, they did.
They gave up just by himself. Aaron Jones had 139 yards.
See,
they didn't run the ball. Kirk Cousins is suspect. I agree with you.
but that's also
Don't get me wrong.
That's on O'Connell.
Huh?
That's definitely on Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah, but the next thing is that they've been kind of skating by on games that they should have lost.
They won a lot of one-score games.
Yeah. They kind of remind me of the Rams last year. They get by with lucky breaks. They're not really as good as people again, Smokescreen, not as good as your record says it is. It's not as good. You know, it's they got exposed by the Cowboys this past Sunday. Okay. Now, should it have been 40-3, whatever it was? No. Do I feel like Dallas is a better team than them? Yes. Do I feel like San Francisco is better than the Vikings? Yes. I just think they've been riding this wave of lucky breaks, and eventually that wave broke. You know what I mean? They wiped out. It's like you're surfing. Right. So I don't believe in the Vikings still, and I believe even less in them after that beatdown that they took in Dallas.
Oh, they took a serious beatdown in Dallas, man. I mean, Dallas first 7 possessions, they either scored a touchdown or a field goal.
Okay, so on to my next team, the Dallas Cowboys. Okay. Now, the Dallas Cowboys are almost in the same conundrum and I know if some Cowboy fans come on here, they're going to be talking all kind of noise, but this is the facts, and it's a hard truth, and it's going to be hard to hear, but you need to hear it. Your quarterback is Dak Prescott. Your coach is Mike McCarthy. They are the exact same. They have the exact same conundrum that the 49ers have. Your quarterback and your coaching. I think he went off on against the Vikings, and he stunk up the joint against the Green Bay Packers, which is a bad team. Bad team this year.
Hey, can I add a third third person in there?
You the resident Cowboy expert. Go ahead.
Kellen Moore. I think it's more Kellen Moore than Dak Prescott versus Green Bay because he got pass happy. He wanted Dak to throw the ball way more than he should have.
Okay, I hear what you're saying.
And he should have ran the ball because no, hold on. You up by 14. Close the game out. You have Zeke and Tony Pollard at running back. Now, hold on. Was Zeke healthy that game? Try to remember. Okay, even if he wasn't healthy, you still had Tony Pollard at running back. Close the game out.
At this point in their careers, Tony Pollard should be the starter. Period. He's a better back. But you're right about that. Kellen Moore's, not wanting to run the ball when your running game is solid. The issue is though, everybody is going. They're going to lose to the Giants. Jameson almost feels like they're going to lose to the Giants. It's possible. It's highly possible.
Jameson.
And here's why. And I'm getting to my next point. Here's why. The Cowboys' third biggest problem besides the coaching, and I say coaching, I ain't going to say just Mike McCarthy. I ain't going to just say Kellen Moore's coach because Mike McCarthy has a tendency to do really stupid things like they lost to Green Bay. You kick the field goal. If you don't trust your kicker, you punt it out of there. And if your defense is as badass as everybody claims it is, you should be able to stop little old Aaron Rodgers. That's the thing. So the next thing I was talking about, what he got pass happy. That's true. However, everybody claims Dak Prescott is a top 10 quarterback. If you're a top quarterback, you got to make these throws, regardless of whether you should be running the ball or not. You got to make these throws. Everybody's, Dak is this and Dak is he's up here. Okay, if he's up here, make the throws, man. Make the throws. He does it. So that's why I'm like, not beyond a doubt, I don't think that Jimmy Garoppolo and Dak Prescott are the same quarterback. Dak Prescott is a better quarterback than Jimmy Garoppolo. However, Dak Prescott has some bed crapping moments when he doesn't need to have them. in
I agree with
crucial
you.
moments.
I can really agree with you on that one.
Because we can sit up and compare. Again, going back to our previous conversation, we're talking about the quarterback. The quarterback gets all of the praise for the team, even winning, even if he didn't do a whole lot. We want to do that, then we can compare playoff resumes. Who has more playoff wins, Jimmy Garoppolo or Dak Prescott? And I don't trust Jimmy Garoppolo more than I can throw, no further than I can throw him.
No, you're right.
Not the ball, but throw Jimmy Garoppolo. So you see what I'm saying? So, and then lastly, it's the Cowboy hubris. They just won a huge game by a lot of points. And what do the Dallas Cowboys? If Steve was here, he would agree with me wholeheartedly, and Steve was a Cowboy fan. They always crap the bed right after a big win. It may not be that next week, but they start to read. Oh, look at it. They say this about us on Newsweek. ESPN says this. Sports Illustrated. Oh, we them boys. And play down to a weaker opponent and lose. It may not happen this week against the Giants. It may happen down the line, but that's what they do. It's the hubris of what the Dallas Cowboys are. Dak Prescott choking in big games, and Mike McCarthy and Kellen Moore combination completely crapping the bed coaching. So
You know what?
again, they're 7-3, but they're not as good as 7-3. And again, they don't have. This is probably their first quality win of the year. They've been beating up on bad teams and then
You know
turn around
what?
and lost to bad teams.
You know what? Let me say something real quick. I know the Cowboys rest their schedule. They play the Giants next on Thanksgiving. They played 3 AFC South teams in a row. They play the Eagles. They play the fourth and final AFC South team, and then they play Washington.
And
Depending
they're gonna
on
get caught slipping. They're gonna get caught slipping by one of them teams you least expect.
it, I feel like depending on what happens the rest of the season, I feel like Mike McCarthy could be fired either Black Monday or after the wild card round.
I don't think he's gonna get fired.
Why not?
They're gonna make the playoffs. I don't think they're gonna. I don't think Jerry Jones is gonna find another playoff making coach.
Jay,
They're gonna still. They still gonna
Jer-
make the playoff.
Jerry Jones is 80 years old and wants a Super Bowl ring. He's gonna want he's
You
gonna
gonna
want
get it this year.
he's gonna want a head coach. He's gonna want Mike McCarthy to get him at least to probably to the NFC Championship game. Or if they lose the division round, it's got to be very, very convincing. I just don't see Mike McCarthy being here next year.
Well, like I
And,
said,
right
you the
now,
resident Cowboy expert, so I'm gonna defer to you on that.
and right now, I'm sitting at 85 to 15. I'm sitting 85-15. 85 is not back
85. That's high. You're saying there's an 85% chance he's not back next year.
because I feel like Mike McCarthy is not going to have the players focused for the remainder of the season. I know what James is saying that they could lose to the Giants. I get it. And they really shouldn't lose to any of these AFC South teams, and they shouldn't lose to Washington at the end of the season. Now, Philadelphia, we'll see what happens. But I feel like Michael McCarthy is not going to have a focus, and that's going to destroy him because Dallas should win almost the rest of the games this season.
They
and
should.
and the thing about the Giants are missing wide receivers galore. They might be without one or both right tackles, the starter and the backup, and they missing some key players back then in the secondary.
And see, that's why I got them. I got Dallas. Before I get into my picks, because we're not through with this segment, but that's why I got Dallas like handling the Giants on this one. I think they're gonna beat the Giants, unless, like I said, it's that Dallas Cowboy hubris. Well, we this, we that, da 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 da. I never forget division.
And I get that. I get that 100%. But you lose this
I
game.
never.
You lose this game. I feel like McCarthy might just be gone, regardless of what else.
I don't think so.
Unless they make it to NFC Championship game.
And that's not happening. I never forget the division around last year. You know, how the media was talking about how the Cowboys was about to play the Niners.
Wild card round.
and the wild card round. Yeah, I'm sorry. And the media was talking about how the 49ers are bullies and this and that and the other because they play such a physical brand of football, da 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 da. And Micah Parsons with his big mouth, you're a rookie. Just play football. Don't talk. Yeah, I'm from such and such and such and such, and we bully the bullies and da 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 da, and made no impact in the game. Had no splash plays that entire game, and they lost that game. As a matter of fact, Debo Samuel went right by him on a big run for a touchdown. So it's like that's the persona. And I'm not picking on Micah Parsons because this has happened so many years, probably the last quarter century. If it wasn't Micah Parsons, it was oh God, what's the corner's name? Terrence Newman. He was all everybody want to be a cowboy. We We them boys, lose first round of playoffs, get eliminated, and don't make the playoffs. It's that there's a curse in that building of big headedness where they can't stay focused, even though they might actually be the better team on the field. They lose games because they think they're supposed to put on these helmets and just show up and get a W. That's biggest problems with the Dallas Cowboys, and that's why they're not as good as their record is what they say it is. My last team, and I'm finna jump on their tail, the Philadelphia Eagles. They're ranked number 2 in ESPN's power rankings. They're the highest ranked NFC team in the ESPN power rankings. Jamal, we talk about this all the time in our little chat that we talk about football in. Jamal Craddock, I'm sending you a shout out, dog. He said it best, and I'm going to quote him. The Eagles do not play 4 quarters of football. They always take a quarter off. They either take out the first quarter, kind of sort of wake up the second quarter, and then play third and fourth. Or they play the first 3 quarters and take the off. Or they play the first half and they just non-existent in the third quarter and come back to 4. They do not play 4 quarters of football. And the thing is, going back to talking about, they kind of share a thing with Dallas. This is new for them, though. That hubris. Oh, we the Eagles. We're gonna jump back and win it. But it's not going to always happen. If you don't believe me, ask the Washington Commanders, who the Eagles are a better roster than them, period.
Yeah.
But Washington went out there and played for 4 quarters of football. And sometimes you can't shake back. If you playing 3 quarters of football and that quarter you took off, the other team got the initiative, sometimes you can't get back. Exactly. They've been able to do it. They've been able to do it a lot of times this year. I'm not going to lie. Hell, they did it last week. But eventually you're going to get caught. You keep doing that. You remember Roy Jones Jr.?
Yes.
Roy Jones Jr. used to
taunt people like crazy on
he'd be swinging and missing everything. And toward the end of his career, he did that. And what happened?
Got knocked out.
Hello. That's the Eagles. If they don't buckle down and focus and play 4 quarters of football, they're going to get caught. And it's going to be either by a good team or it can be one of the mid teams that I'm about to talk about. Because there are some teams, going again, talking about the NFC Smokescreen, they are better than their record.
Yes.
I can think about 3 or 4 teams that they're better than their record. And nobody's talking about these teams, and they coming on at just the right time.
And the thing about it is, and before you jump into it, it's 2 things. One, you don't want to see too many of these teams towards the end of the season because they're going to damage your chances of either A, getting to the playoffs, or B, mess up your playoff seeding or winning the division title. 2, you may not want to see them in the playoffs because you may end up playing down to them, and they end up beating you and advancing to the next round.
So some of these teams that I'm about to talk about are not going to make the playoffs, but they're going to really mess some people's stuff up because they coming on at the right time. They've suffered enough damage to where they don't have a good chance of getting in, but they're going to beat some teams that they're not supposed to beat. My first team I'm talking about is the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions, and they've shown it. They've done it a couple of times this year.
And they can score some points.
Yes, sir. And they about to activate Williamson, the receiver, the rookie receiver, who honestly they don't really need him because as long as Amon St. Brown is playing on the level that he's playing at, hey man.
But you know what?
So
That allows them to bring Williamson along slowly because St. Brown is out there balling. Williams come in and just get healthy, dude. Make a few
yeah,
plays, get healthy, continue to get healthy, make a few plays. We're really trying to get you ready for more so for next year. Get you acclimated to speed, get your health going, get comfortable with that knee, and we'll see next year more so. I mean, we'll be out there on the field, but you really more so for next year.
so that's one of my teams that's major spoiler team. They can spoil a lot of people's, they get like I say, pee in the gumbo pot. Like just mess everything up. So they're not. Again, I'm not saying they're going to be a playoff team, but they have enough moxie to really spoil and shake up some of the stuff that's going on in the NFC. Okay, now these teams that I'm talking about right now, I'm about to talk about, are on the cusp and have a shot of making it, and they are better than their record would indicate. First team I'm going to talk about is the Atlanta Falcons. Nobody's giving Atlanta any credit, but they're quietly winning games. And if they keep on, they're going to fool around and catch somebody. They might catch the Buccaneers and win that doggone division. And next thing you know, oh my God, the Atlanta Falcons in the playoffs. Wow. So we're looking at that. The Falcons as a team can catch some folks slipping. Next team, the Seattle Seahawks. I do not believe in Geno Smith at all. But for Walker, the rookie running back, he's coming on strong. He's like a younger version of Marshawn Lynch. He's pretty solid. That defense is not Legion of Boom, but it improves every week. You can look up the stats and be like, well, they don't look that impressive. That's because of what they did early in the year. It's messing up that defensive ranking. However, if you see
their defense is in the top 8 in sacks this year.
Yeah.
I know I think one time they were like third, like fourth or fifth place. I'm not sure.
They are rushing the passer.
Huh?
They're rushing the passer, and they're covering. That defense, Tariq Woolen, they are way better than their record would indicate. They're not they're right now. They're in the middle of the pack, and this is one of those things where if San Francisco don't get their life together, they could lose that game going up there playing Seattle in CenturyLink. I don't know what they call that field anymore. I don't care, but they could lose that game if they're not careful. Now, again, on paper, the 49ers are a better team, but that's a team that could really cause some havoc. Not get far in the playoffs, but cause havoc. So I got Atlanta Falcons and I got Seattle Seahawks. And there's one more that I'm forgetting about because I did not put it in my notes. There's another team. Oh, I'm sorry. How could I forget Tristan's team? The Washington Commanders. The Washington Commanders, they took down a quote-unquote giant a couple of weeks ago on the Eagles. Nobody could beat the Eagles. They was like, hold my bill. Taylor Heineke's playing adequate. They just got Chase Young back. So the defense is going to be a lot better with him on the field with them.
Actually, they still, even though they activated him, they still not sure if he's going to play on Sunday.
I'm talking about down the line. He's going to play.
Well, that's true. I'm
talking about this Sunday. But they're good enough to win some games that people say they're not supposed to win.
Yeah, and ever since Heineke became the starting quarterback, Terry McLaurin's numbers gotten better at wide receiver.
There's an energy in that building.
There's energy in that building.
Because he's a starter.
Because of Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen, you cannot run up the middle on that defense. You're going to have to hit the outside. You are literally going to take the outside because Payne and Allen is a brick wall up the middle, and the secondary, from what I understand, is getting better too. So they playing some legitimate football. They may make the playoffs, and probably not, but you're right. They're gonna mess up a lot of teams towards these last 6 games of the season.
Yeah. So you can't. So Washington Commanders, Atlanta Falcons, Seattle Seahawks.
You're
Those
missing
three
one.
teams. Who am I missing?
Tampa Bay,
Tampa Bay. Nobody's giving up on Tampa Bay because Tom Brady's a quarterback. So
I give you that.
there's no smoke screen there. Okay, if there's a team that sits on the border between those quote unquote elite teams and the also rans, Tampa Bay's in the middle of that
You're right.
because that's Tom Brady. They gonna get it together eventually.
Right.
Heck, I think I think I even picked them to win this week. No, I didn't. Let me see. Did I? We'll get to it. But you know, I'm not giving them that. I'm talking about teams that nobody's really respecting. Nobody respects the Seahawks. Nobody respects the Commanders. Nobody respects the Falcons. But they're quietly winning games,
Definitely.
and they're better than what their record would indicate. And some of these teams with these big, huge, records, they're not as good as their record would indicate. So that's why we say this segment was called the NFC Smokescreen. The NFC is not as locked tight as we think it is. It is not. Oh, it's the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Vikings, and the Niners. Shoot, no, it's not. It's not that simple. It's not that cut and dry. It is not. So, Pando's picks. All right, week 12. We got 3 games on Thanksgiving Day. So while you're eating your turkey and your dressing and all of that stuff like that, you can watch some football. That's one of the best things that ever happened.
Macaroni and cheese.
Oh yeah, black people, we love our mac and cheese. Our baked mac.
Mm.
So basically the best thing that ever happened was probably them putting all those games on Thanksgiving Day. You got an early game, a midday game, and a late game. So when you're going back for those thirds, fourths, and fifths, you got something to watch. So the first game, before I even get started, there are a lot of games. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I don't think I'm gonna have a 5. I don't think I'm gonna be above 500 on this week. I hit an even 7-7 last week, but there are a lot of games. There are a lot of games that it's like, man, I don't know who's gonna win that one. Then there are a lot of games it's like, man, I don't care who wins that one. Literally. But I'm gonna start off. First game of Thanksgiving is the Bills at the Lions. Again, the Lions can play spoiler. I just don't think they're gonna do it this particular game. I think I got the Bills. The Bills have been getting punched in the mouth lately. I think they're gonna start punching back pretty soon. They trying to right the ship because that loss to Minnesota really messed up their psyche, and they're trying to get their groove back. So I think I'm looking for the Bills to pull this one out. So I got the Bills over the Lions.
Okay.
The next game, with all the injuries going on with the Giants, I have the Cowboys over the Giants. I think they're gonna sweep the Giants this year. But watch out because they're a much better coach team and they get some better personnel. The Giants could really make some noise next year.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Next game, Pats versus Vikings. The Pats are actually going to score more than 3 points on offense against this Vikings team. But the Vikings, this is going to be their bounce back game. Now, let me say this: if the Vikings lose this game, they are who we thought they were. Period.
Dennis Green.
A lot of rest in peace, Dennis Green. But there are a lot of people, including like some of the national pundits, like Minnesota. Before they lost to the Cowboys, people still like, Minnesota. And I'm one of those Minnesota people. But I still feel like they can bounce back and get the W against the Patriots.
Hey,
Okay.
now I don't know Christian Dershaw's playing on Thanksgiving because he suffered a second concussion in as many games. And Matt Judon is leading the NFL in sacks, and New England is a top 8 team as a team in sacks as well. So that can do something.
I mean, that had a lot to do with that loss to the Cowboys, that left tackle being out. I mean, it's literally like Micah Parsons got the feast because that left tackle.
Actually, I saw the clips of all 7 sacks. All of them were not on that left tackle side. Parsons got a sack on Dershaw. Dorrance Armstrong got a sack on Dershaw. There was only one other sack that came against the backup left tackle. Everything else was at right guard and right tackle. I know. I saw that. I'm not putting that on the backup left tackle.
Okay, but
I
will put it on that. I put it on. You're right. I put it on that whole offensive line, but still, there's a chink in the arm. I'm putting my best pass rusher across from that weakest lineman, which is that backup left tackle.
Yeah, but the best pass rusher also went up against Christian Dershaw and got a sack.
You're missing my point.
Whoa. And I just told you, my third string defensive end, who's behind Parsons and Lawrence, got a sack on Dershaw. So I'm not going to. I'm not giving you that. I'm not letting you ride with that. Nope.
You're still missing my point. You talking about you're not letting me ride with something because you're missing my point. The point is the weak link of the doggone offensive line is always going to be the backup. He's a backup for a reason.
You only gave him 1 sack the whole game out of 7.
He's still the weak link.
It doesn't matter.
If he was that good, then he would be the starting left tackle. You're missing the point.
But you blaming him. You blame almost everything on him.
I'm not blaming him. You're not listening. You're not listening. You're not listening. You're not listening.
What was the original thing you said?
Stop talking and listen.
What was the original thing you said?
I said, if I'm going to strategize, I'm going to actually go put my best pass rusher against the backup left tackle. That's all I said. I didn't say nothing about no damn Dorrance Armstrong or no Michael Parsons or none of them other damn Cowboys. I ain't say none of that. And here you go. But I don't care. What I'm saying is if you're strategizing, you're going to strategize. Any dumb defensive coordinator is going to say, oh, wait a minute, there's a backup in. I'm going to put my star pass rush over there. That's all I'm saying. That's all. Now, I'm going back to my picks.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now, Dolphins over Texans. Okay. I just hope they don't fire Lovie Smith.
You know what? If they fire Lovie Smith, man, that team's gonna fall apart.
Well, I mean, how you gonna fall apart when they, the foundation cracked? Ain't no roof and ain't no walls.
Because it's gonna fall apart even more than what it is. You have a coach who can possibly build something for your franchise.
You preach to the choir.
So that's why I'm saying they're gonna fall apart even more than what they have done. If you fire Lovie Smith,
summer, I told you there's not.
I know. No. I'm not going against what you're saying. I'm not. What I'm saying is, do not fire Lovie Smith. This man can build something out of nothing for your franchise.
Absolutely.
He can.
Absolutely.
Don't fire him. My question is, who you going to replace him with? You fire him, who you going to replace him with?
The Houston Texans are one of the most dysfunctional franchises.
I know. I know.
And I said that before the season started, and I said they're going to make Lovie Smith a scapegoat, say it's all his fault, even though the defense is playing completely over their heads right now. Davis Mills is not as good as we thought he was gonna be.
I know.
He's like giving up the ball at least once a game. He gonna give you one. Like, hey, look at that, it's a guy in the opposite color jersey. But yeah, they're dysfunctional, and that's why I really feel like that Lovie Smith may be on his way out, which is a big mistake. Big mistake. Okay, so but honestly, the Miami Dolphins are literally what the 49ers should look like when you have a coach making good decisions. They're literally that, which which leads me to believe that I still believe that Mike McDaniels was the brains of that outfit when he was in San Francisco. I'm gonna keep saying that until Kyle Shanahan proves otherwise. Some people gonna say, well, he calls great plays against Arizona. That was Arizona. It's not saying much. Smokescreen. That's gonna be my catchphrase the rest of the season. Smokescreen. So Bengals at Titans. This was a pick'em game. This is a tough one. The Titans are rolling with that running game. Tannehill's making a lot of throws when he needs to make them. Not all the time, but just when he needs to make them, he's making them. But the Bengals are starting to build a little momentum. They're starting to kick back and get back into their groove at just the right time of the year. So,
You know what?
I like the Bengals. I like the Bengals to go into Tennessee and win that game.
I do too. But and Cincinnati, the faster they score points, the better off they are. They're gonna have to get those touchdowns and make Tannehill throw the ball because Derrick Henry's running.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to get the strength. You got to force them out of the running game and force that
Yes,
quarterback to try to beat you. Yeah.
yes. Get
So
him, get him throw the ball 30 plus times.
okay. So for this next game that I'm picking, I don't really care who wins. I'm literally just picking the home team because it does not matter. And I'm talking about the Broncos at the Panthers. I don't care who wins that game. You know who loses that game? The person who watches it. That's who the biggest loser is. The person who sits down and watches that whole game is the biggest loser.
Hey, it's real
I don't
bad
care
for
who
Denver
wins.
right now. It's bad for Denver. They put Melvin Gordon on the waiver wire. He cleared waivers today. He's a free agent. No one signed him yet. I mean, I don't know how long his fumbling problem been existing, but um, to me, he's not a starting running back. He might not even be a backup running back because of his fumbling problem. They
When
put
I
some
t-
running back
when
on injured reserve. Um, I think they have Latavius Murray on the team, but that's not saying much of
yeah,
anything. And the head coach Nathaniel Hackett is a terrible offensive. Matter of fact, he had to give the play calling duties to the offensive coordinator Klein Kubiak. So it's looking real bad right now for Denver. Um, if I had
hey
to pick
man,
a team between Denver and Carolina,
Panthers are starting.
huh?
The Panthers are starting Sam Darnold. They can't
Yeah,
get
they
no
start
rest
Sam
on him.
Darnold, and that's an issue too. But I guess if I had to pick one, I would probably pick Carolina by 1 point because I just feel like they at least a little bit stronger, and that's not saying much, but they're a little bit stronger than Denver. So I would go with that's me. I'm going with Carolina.
And I picked the Panthers to win that game
Okay.
because they're just top team. But the only person that's gonna lose is the person that watches that game from beginning to end. Um, so the Bears are at the Jets. Depending on who starts, and I'm really thinking Robert Saleh is gonna give Zach Wilson the hook, and is more than likely gonna wind up with Joe Flacco starting, and they'll be good enough. The Jets defense will hold them down.
Yeah.
Flacco will make a couple of throws, and they'll win
Yep.
that game probably by 3.
Yep.
So I got the Jets over the Bears.
Agreed.
And also Justin Fields has that shoulder thing happening. So
Yes.
that's another reason. Okay, Falcons and Commanders. These are two of my dark horse teams playing each other. Commanders are at home. I like the way Taylor Heineke's playing that swagger. I like the Commanders in this one.
And Kyle Pitts is
Um,
injured.
And Kyle Pitts is injured. That's
Yeah.
another thing.
And guess what?
Drake.
I'm sorry. Cordell Patterson's not gonna be able to run that ball. So it's pretty much all Marcus Mariota and Drake London.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you on that. And then Drake London doesn't always come up clutch because he's still a rookie.
Yeah,
So I like the Commanders in this one.
definitely.
The Bucks at the Browns. The Bucks at the Browns. I don't think the Browns get enough credit for how well they run the ball. If they're able to run the ball well against the Bucks, they're gonna win that game.
Run
Uh,
game Moses.
you got to keep Brady on the sideline, even though he hasn't been as explosive as he has in past years. You got to keep him on the sideline. You got to
Run
keep
game
him on the.
Moses.
So I like the Browns in a close one against the Bucks. Give me the Ravens over the Jags.
Yes.
Again, the Ravens got to start getting their life together because they looking kind of suspect. Even though they winning, they kind of they not molly-whopping folk like they are too. But I do like them to win this game by the Jags by 2 scores, 10 points, something like that. I like the Ravens to beat the Jags. Next game, Raiders at Seahawks. Again, Seahawks, another one of my dark horse teams.
The only reason why the Raiders won last week because they playing the Broncos.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's the only reason why they won. The only reason why the Raiders won last week because they were playing the Broncos. Seahawks should take full control of this. What's the name? Walker should be able to run the ball. He should be able to get like 125 yards on the ground. Derek Carr's gonna get sacked by 3 or 4 times. Derek Carr probably throw an interception or two. Seahawks win by at least 5 points.
Tariq Woolen's gonna pick him off.
Yeah, Tariq Woolen's gonna get one of those interceptions, and the Seahawks win by 5.
I think Tariq Woolen is gonna body Devontae Adams.
Ooh, yeah. You know what? Ooh. Yeah. He's not scared. They're about the same size.
Yeah, he's actually, I think he's bigger than Devontae Adams. I think.
Probably.
He's 6'3". I know that much, but yeah.
I thought it was Devontae.
6'2", I think. It's only like a couple of inches difference or an inch difference, but I know Woolen is pretty stocky too. He's not like a tall and skinny. He's a big guy. So Chargers at Cardinals.
Chargers.
They're starting to get healthy. They really scratching into every game counts for them. They in that AFC West, and they're really chasing behind the Chiefs. So I like the Chargers. The Cards are a steaming pile of dog crap. They are bad. Cliff Kingsbury should have never got that job.
Never. He should never be a head coach ever again. Can it be a college offensive coordinator? Fine. But he does not need to be a head coach anymore.
He literally got that job because Pat Mahomes was his quarterback at Texas Tech. That's it. I have zero faith in him or confidence in him as a head coach. He's one of those. You're in an instance where you have a coach who's a head coach because he had a really talented player at one point, and you have a quarterback in Kyler Murray who had success because he was the most talented guy on the field in high school and college, and is not anymore in the NFL, and it's showing. And his lack of study is showing. So yeah, Chargers and Cardinals. Yeah. So next game, Saints at the Niners. The Niners are at home. On paper, the Niners should demolish the Saints.
The Saints is a better quarterback.
They should.
And the Saints are missing Sean Payton. I'm sorry, they missing Sean Payton.
They should beat the Saints by 10 points. But Jimmy Garoppolo has had 3 great games in a row, which means he is due for a stinker. He is due for a step out the back of the end zone while throwing a pick 6 type of game. I'm waiting for that game to come. I'm really hoping, as a Niners fan, it happens sometime in the regular season, before they get to the playoffs because he always comes back strong after a stinker of a game. He's had 3 solid games in a row. He's due for a stinker. Kyle Shanahan is due for a stinker as a play caller. So I'm gonna pick against the Niners until that stinker game happens because that's what they do. We've seen this movie before. We know how it ends. Okay. Now, for all intents and purposes, I hope I'm egregiously wrong about it all. And like Garoppolo just goes off the rest of the year all the way to Super Bowl. I hope that happens. But I live in a real world. I live in a realistic world. So I just don't see that happen. Okay. So the next game, this next game is my Stone Cold Lock of the Week. Chiefs over Rams.
Oh,
Easy. If you betting, bet big.
man.
If you thought the 49ers dismantled the Rams both times they played them, let me tell you
Eric,
something. If
Eric,
you thought the Chiefs dismantled the 49ers,
Eric.
y'all, it's gonna be like that scene on Rocky IV when Apollo Creed was about to die in the ring, and the trainer was like, "Throw the towel, throw the damn towel."
Eric.
It's Pat Mahomes for to come out there,
Eric.
and they at home,
Eric.
and they at home.
Eric.
Bro,
Eric.
don't let a fool around get you. Don't let a fool around get you.
Hey, the Chiefs are literally.
You thought Travis Kelce had a game this week. Ain't nobody. There's no unless you gonna make Jalen Ramsey cover Travis Kelce. You gonna have a problem, and then he may not be able to cover Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce is on a tear this year. What do you got? What 11 touchdowns this year? 10 or 11?
Eric.
I lost count the other night they was playing.
Eric, I really want to say so bad that the Chiefs are going to win this game by 3 touchdowns.
It's possible.
I'm dead serious. I really want to say that so bad because I'm just watching the Rams fall apart so fast in front of my eyes. It's like watching a cookie crumble.
You heard it here
No,
first.
no. Let me bring that back. Let me start that over. You remember when Shaq was with the Orlando Magic? He had 2 separate dunks where he didn't destroy the glass. He brought the entire court down.
Yeah.
That's what the Rams look like. Those 2 times that Shaq brought the entire court down, that's what the Rams look like right now. You have no offensive line. You have Matthew Stafford injured. Just it's terrible. Cooper Kupp is missing this game. You just put Darrell Henderson on a waiver wire. You don't want Cam Akers at running back. Okay, that's just on offense. Defense, Aaron Donald. Okay, whatever. Has anybody heard from Bobby Wagner? You talking about Jalen Ramsey? Has anybody heard from Bobby Wagner?
Everybody like, oh, Bobby Wagner go for it. They just got cooler because they got Bobby, and I'm sitting there just grinning like, really?
Let me ask you a question. Didn't you say you got something in the smoker? What's in that smoker?
Some Rams. Lamb
Jalen Ramsey, yeah, Jalen Ramsey's in that smoke. Okay.
Okay, yeah. So
yeah,
I mean, it's man,
it's bad. Yeah,
Apollo Creed.
Hey, look. I'm gonna tell you something right now. I don't go gambling. I don't do betting. But if I was to put a bet on it, now I know I said I know I said Chiefs will win by 21 points. I would easily put a bet down and say that the Rams is winning by 10 points just to cover myself, just make sure I'm safe. But I feel like they were winning by 21. I would literally put a bet on. I'm really this close to doing it because I don't do it, but I'm really this close to doing it, man. Saying
Well,
that they're going to win by 10 points or more.
this is the Stone Cold lock of the week.
Oh my
It's a
goodness.
no. The Chiefs are gonna run roughshod over the Rams, who are just. I never forget after that first game of the season when Buffalo dismantled them,
Oh
and
God.
Jalen Ramsey is good for a sound bite and eating them words. Yo, they good, but we good too. Really, Jalen? Really, Jalen? Really,
You know
Jalen?
what? He may have to retire. I was thinking he would have to move to safety. I think he might have to retire. He's not
They
going
used
to.
to, they
He,
used to
he
have a
might need to
saying
retire.
all the time where I'm from. He said, "Your alligator mouth gonna get your hummingbird ass whipped." That is so. Uh, Yeah, that's Stone Cold like. So last two games, I got the Eagles over the Packers. I think that you almost ready to stick a fork in the Packers, like you about ready to stick a fork in that turkey on
Yeah.
Thursday.
As a matter of fact, there was someone who had asked about thoughts on the Green Bay Packers season. That was a whole hour, almost a whole hour ago. But
Oh,
I mean Green Bay.
what
I mean
season?
Green Bay's finished. Green
What
Bay
season?
is finished. If Philadelphia is smart, they need to go do. And I hate saying this, what Dallas didn't do, and finish off the Green Bay Packers. And Aaron Rodgers won't be in the playoffs.
Yeah, and if he got in, he lose to the Niners. That's what he does. No, I'm serious. He's like 0
I know,
and
I know,
5
I
against.
know, I know what you're saying, but he will.
Yeah,
They will lose in the wild card immediately, and immediately.
yeah. So this last game is interesting. You got the Steelers and the Colts. Um, Jeff said he has them playing some inspired football in
Yeah, he
Indianapolis.
really does. I'm surprised.
I thought the hiring was a mistake,
They almost beat the
but
Eagles.
TJ Watt's back.
Oh,
Najee Harris is running the ball.
mhm.
Shop closed. I got the Steelers over the Colts. Now, does that mean the Colts can't win this game? No, no, no. Colts can win this game, but I still like the Steelers in this. So to recap, because we went a little bit over time, I got the Bills over the Lions, the Cowboys over the Giants, the Vikings over the Pats, the Dolphins over the Texans, the Bengals over the Titans, Panthers over Broncos, Jets over Bears, Commanders over Falcons, Browns over Bucks, Ravens over Jags, Seahawks over Raiders, Chargers over Cardinals, Saints over Niners, Chiefs over Rams. Stone, put some money on that, y'all. Eagles over the Pack, Eagles over the Packers, and the Steelers over the Colts.
All right, that's it for Eric's picks. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we just completed another show, Just a Fan Podcast. We are currently live on YouTube. So if you're on the YouTube side, please hit the thumbs up button, hit that like button, so we get that algorithm going. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell. When you hit the notification bell, there's like three options. Please click the one that says all. Share it. Share it to your friends, your family, whoever. If you're on the Twitter side, we're live as well. On the Twitter side, like it, retweet it, so that way your friends and family can see it. We also live on Facebook. Hit the like button. There's a blue like button. There's a red love button, and also share the content as well for that. If you missed this, it's still available online. All our shows is still online. Um, you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And if you happen to miss us and you don't feel like watching it, you can listen to us on Google, Apple, and Spotify podcasts. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the defensive hunter, the free agent we picked up in the middle of the season last year, Pando 316 Right. And I'm the one, the NFL encyclopedia, the Wildcat quarterback that runs this whole thing, Brandon Williams. Good night.
I gotta go check my grill.